Hello and welcome to Wisdom and Wealth. This channel is dedicated to helping you navigate the complexities of life with insight and practical wisdom, especially for those of us who are over 40 and perhaps looking for a deeper sense of purpose. If you're searching for a path that leads to genuine peace and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. We explore timeless principles that can help you build a life of both inner richness and outer abundance. So, if you find value in our content, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Did you ever take a long hard look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I happy with what I'm doing? I mean, is this truly my life, the life I was meant to live? Is this the life I chose, and not the life my parents, your friends, or society imagined for me? Is this not the path society deems respectable, but the one that brings my heart real peace and unbridled joy? This simple yet profound question lies at the very heart of Buddhist wisdom. The Buddha taught that most people spend their lives chasing fleeting shadows, pursuing material wealth, social status, and external approval, while their authentic selves wither away like unwatered, forgotten flowers. We become so accustomed to wearing masks, conforming to expectations, and presenting a carefully curated image to the world that we eventually forget what our own, true face even looks like beneath them. Each and every morning, the world greets us with its endless demands, constantly vying for our attention. Work deadlines loom large, family obligations weigh heavily, and countless social expectations whisper insistently that we should be someone different, someone more impressive, someone more put together, someone other than the person we are right now. But the Buddha understood this insidious trap all too well. He called it samsara, the endless cycle of wanting and striving that keeps us perpetually exhausted and unfulfilled. Like a hamster on a wheel, we run faster and faster, exerting more and more energy but never truly arriving anywhere meaningful or lasting. The harder we try to please others and the more we crave external validation, the more we betray that quiet, inner voice within, the one that knows our deepest truths but speaks in whispers beneath the deafening noise of daily life. Now, if you like this content or have something to say, please leave a comment below, and please subscribe to this Buddhist doctrine channel. That subtle discomfort you feel deep down when something in your life feels off, when you experience a persistent sense of unease or dissatisfaction, that isn't random anxiety or some other mental health problem. In Buddhist teachings, this is dukkha, the subtle suffering that arises when we live out of alignment with our true nature, when we're not living the life we're truly meant to live. Your heart isn't trying to cause you trouble or make you unhappy. It's trying to wake you up, to guide you back to your authentic self. The Buddha compared this inner knowing to a hidden spring of fresh, clear water, buried deep beneath layers of dirt, debris, and accumulated conditioning. Most people, unfortunately, never dig deep enough to reach it. Instead, they spend their lives drinking from muddy puddles, chasing temporary pleasures that can never truly satisfy their thirst for meaning. Why do we habitually ignore this profound wisdom, this inner compass that guides us towards our true north? Simply put, because the truth can be frightening. Facing ourselves honestly means confronting our mistakes, acknowledging our unfulfilled dreams, and grappling with the painful realization that we've spent years climbing a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. The Buddha called this deva, the fundamental ignorance that keeps us trapped in cycles of suffering. We'd rather stay busy, stay distracted, and stay preoccupied than sit quietly with our own thoughts, confronting ourselves. Yet, the path to liberation begins exactly there, in the courageous act of stillness and self-reflection. When we meditate, we aren't just calming our minds or zoning out. We're learning to listen intently to that patient, persistent voice beneath the chaos, that voice that's been waiting our whole lives to guide us back home. This journey inward requires tremendous courage, a special kind of courage, the kind the Buddha called vira, or spiritual energy. It means questioning everything we've been taught about success and happiness. It means disappointing people when necessary, setting boundaries, and prioritizing your own well-being. It means sitting with our loneliness, our fears, and our deepest questions without rushing to fill the silence with distractions. But here's the secret, the transformative truth the Buddha discovered: when we stop running, when we finally turn towards ourselves with compassion, acceptance, and self-love, we find that what we've been seeking was never out there at all. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content if you are enjoying this. The path isn't about rejecting the world entirely or isolating yourself from others, but about seeing it with clear eyes, free from the distorting filters of delusion and attachment. It's about tending to your responsibilities and fulfilling your obligations without losing yourself in them, without sacrificing your own well-being and authenticity. It's about pausing, really pausing, when that inner voice speaks, even if what it says contradicts everything you've been told you should want. The Buddha didn't teach escape from life but awakening within it, finding liberation amidst the everyday challenges and complexities of human existence. Every mindful breath, every honest moment before the mirror, every time you choose authenticity over external approval, these are the steps, however small, that lead from suffering to freedom. So, tomorrow morning, when you see your reflection in the mirror, look deeper, beneath the roles you play, the masks you wear, and the carefully constructed image you present to the world. Who is really there? And, more importantly, what would it feel like to finally let that person live, to embrace your true self without reservation or apology? Take a deep, cleansing breath and ask yourself, how many choices have I made lately from a place of real truth and authenticity? And how many were shaped by fear, fear of letting people down, fear of standing out, fear of the unknown, or fear of leaving behind what feels safe and familiar? The Buddha taught that fear is one of the greatest obstacles to awakening. It keeps us trapped in cycles of suffering, mindlessly repeating old patterns while our authentic selves remain buried beneath layers of conditioning. Every time we choose fear over truth, we move further away from our own inner light, dimming our radiance and stifling our potential. Like a tree straining toward sunlight, yet tied down by ropes, we may not understand why we feel so strained, so exhausted, and so unfulfilled until we realize we've been fighting against our own nature, betraying our deepest desires and neglecting our own well-being. Consider liking and subscribing to our channel, Buddhist Doctrine. Leave us a comment, we'd love to hear from you. This isn't about selfishness or self-centeredness. The Buddha's middle way teaches us that true wisdom lies neither in self-indulgence nor in self-denial but in finding balance, moderation, and harmony in all aspects of our lives. To give genuinely and selflessly to others, we must first be rooted in our own wholeness, grounded in a sense of inner peace and well-being. Imagine a lamp trying to brighten a room while its own flame flickers weakly, threatening to extinguish at any moment. How can it effectively illuminate anything around it? In the same way, we cannot offer love, kindness, or genuine presence to the world if we're running on empty, depleted of energy, and disconnected from our own inner resources. The Dhammapada wisely states, first establish yourself in what is right, then teach others. This is the heart of true compassion. You cannot pour from an empty cup. When you begin choosing yourself, not from ego or arrogance, but from a place of deep self-honesty and self-respect, a quiet miracle unfolds. The Buddha called this the law of karma, not as a system of punishment and reward, but as the natural truth that like attracts like, that our inner state shapes our outer reality. Live from your core, from your authentic self, and life responds in kind. People who resonate with your truth will appear, situations that nurture your growth will arise, and what no longer belongs to you will naturally fall away, not as a sense of loss, but as the universe making space for what aligns with your awakened path. But first, you must courageously face what you've been avoiding, the shadows within. In Buddhism, these shadows are called kalosas, the mental defilements of greed, hatred, and delusion that cloud our true nature and keep us trapped in suffering. We spend lifetimes running from them, masking them, and pretending they don't exist, desperately trying to maintain a flawless facade. Yet, the Buddha's radical teaching was this: nothing is to be clung to as I or mine. Even our darkest parts are not enemies to destroy but illusions to see through, aspects of ourselves to understand with compassion. When you stop resisting your shadows, your anger, your insecurities, your past mistakes, something extraordinary happens. They lose their power over you, their grip loosens. Subscribe to our channel, Buddhist Doctrine, for more on this discussion. This is the alchemy of awareness. What was once heavy becomes light, what was once a source of shame becomes a wellspring of wisdom. This transformation doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for presence. Sitting in meditation, you might notice shame arising. I'm not good enough. Instead of pushing it away, you simply breathe and label it. This is fear. You watch as it trembles and dissolves like a wave returning to the vast ocean. Over time, you begin to recognize all emotions as passing weather in the vast sky of your awareness. This is the essence of Vyasa, clear seeing. The more you practice, the more you realize you are not your shadows, you are the space that holds them. And from this space, clarity dawns. Decisions become simpler, not because life gets easier, but because you're no longer torn between truth and fear. You understand the Buddha's teaching that all conditioned things are impermanent, even your struggles. With this wisdom, you navigate challenges not as catastrophes but as passing storms. Purpose emerges naturally, not as some grand destiny to achieve, but as the next right step taken with full attention and peace. It becomes your inner home, unshaken by the world's chaos, like the depths of the ocean undisturbed by surface waves. So tonight, before sleep, ask yourself, where have I been untrue today? Not to judge yourself, but to awaken yourself. Each moment of honesty is a seed planted in the fertile soil of awareness. Water it with patience, and one day, maybe when you least expect it, you'll find yourself blooming effortlessly into the life that was always meant to be yours. The moment comes when you realize, no is a complete sentence, not a rejection of others, but an affirmation of yourself, a recognition of your own worth and value. No explanations needed, no apologies required. In Buddhist terms, this is right speech meeting right intention, the wisdom to know what serves your path and the compassion to decline what doesn't without resentment or guilt. The Buddha taught that clinging to what drains us, whether toxic relationships, soul-crushing work, or outdated versions of ourselves, is like gripping a burning coal, wondering why we're in pain. If this resonated with you at all, consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel and leaving a comment below. Letting go isn't loss, it's the first breath after being underwater too long. You might sit quietly now and whisper, but how? And the answer hums in your bones like an ancient mantra. Listen, not with your thinking mind, but with your body's quiet knowing, that knot in your stomach when you say, yes, but mean, no, the exhaustion after pretending to be someone you're not. These aren't random discomforts, they're dukkha, knocking at your door, the suffering that arises when we betray ourselves. The Tibetan teacher, Padmasambhava, said, if you want to know your past life, look at your present condition. If you want to know your future life, look at your present actions. Every time you ignore these whispers, you plant seeds for more suffering. Every time you honor them, you water the roots of liberation. Consider the job that pays well but hollows you out, or the relationship running on fumes of habit. The Buddha called this samsaric entanglement, the web of attachments we mistake for safety. We stay because the devil we know feels easier than the terrifying unknown, even as our spirit withers. But here's the paradox the Dharma reveals: what feels like safe stagnation is actually slow decay, while the terrifying leap toward authenticity is where life truly begins. Like a snake shedding its skin, we must release to grow. There's grief in this shedding, yes. But, as Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, taught, no mud, no lotus. The decay of what no longer fits becomes compost for what's waiting to bloom. You'll know it's time to choose yourself when the pain of staying becomes heavier than the fear of leaving, when the prospect of continuing down the same path fills you with a sense of dread. That dream you've postponed, the truth you've swallowed, these aren't whims, they're your Buddha nature calling you home. In the Pali Canon, the Buddha said, be islands unto yourselves, refuses unto yourselves. This isn't isolation, it's the unshakable foundation from which real connection grows. When you stop abandoning yourself, a miracle happens. You attract those who resonate with your authenticity while releasing those who only loved your masks. The universe conspires to support the choice to live in truth. So tonight, light a candle and ask the raw questions. what am I clinging to that's already gone? Where am I playing small to keep others comfortable? Don't rush to fix anything, just let the answers rise like moonlight on water. The first step isn't a dramatic exit, it's the quiet courage to name what's true. Maybe it's setting one boundary tomorrow, maybe it's deleting that app that makes you feel less than. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and be sure to leave a comment. The revolution begins in micro moments of allegiance to your soul. And when doubt creeps in, who am I to want more? Remember the Buddha's awakening. He didn't find truth in palaces or extremes but in the middle path of radical honesty. Your longing for authenticity isn't selfish, it's sacred. As the Tibetan Book of the Dead reminds us, this life is a fleeting illusion. The real tragedy isn't failing to meet others' expectations, it's forgetting you were ever meant to be you. The choice is here, now, in this breath, not tomorrow, not when the timing's perfect. The lotus doesn't wait for the mud to clean itself, it roots in the mess and rises anyway. So tell me, with this one wild and precious life, are you ready to choose yourself? The moment you choose yourself, truly choose yourself, is the moment your life begins to breathe differently. It's not selfishness, it's the most sacred act of self-preservation you'll ever know. The Buddha taught that all suffering stems from craving and clinging to approval, to comfort, to the illusions others have crafted for us. But when you finally loosen your grip on who you're supposed to be, an unexpected grace settles in. The people who belong in your life step closer, while those who fed on your dimmed light suddenly find you changed. This isn't loss, it's the universe rearranging itself around your awakening. You'll feel it first in your body before your mind catches up, that tightness in your chest when you betray your truth, the dull ache of living out of alignment. These are the whispers of dukkha, the suffering that comes from resisting your own nature. The Tibetan yogi, Miller, didn't sing, "Stay small to make others comfortable," he howled, "Be fiercely, unapologetically alive in the caves of his solitude." Your discomfort isn't a sign you're doing it wrong, it's the friction of old skins falling away. Yet, here's where the path demands courage. Choosing yourself means facing the mirrors you've avoided. Those times you swallowed your no to keep the peace, the dreams you buried to fit someone else's mold. If our content is helping you and you find it helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. In the Palaya Canon, the Buddha calls this a vig, the ignorance that makes us trade our truth for temporary safety. But tonight, if you sit quietly with your hands over your heart, you might hear the question that changes everything: what would I do if I loved myself unconditionally? Not in some distant future, when you're ready, but now, as you are. The magic lies in what happens next. Like the moon pulling tides, your inner shift begins altering outer realities. That job that drained you, opportunities aligned with your soul start appearing. That relationship built on pretense, either it transforms or dissolves, making space for connections that require no masks. This isn't fantasy, it's the law of karma in motion. As the Dhammata says, all that we are arises with our thoughts. When you stop thoughtlessly bending to external demands, life stops bending you out of shape. But be gentle, unlearning takes time. Start small, pause before saying automatic yes. Notice when resentment flares, it's often a sign of self-betrayal. Write down every time you override your intuition to please others, then burn the paper as an offering to your newfound honesty. This is sati, mindfulness, applied to the most intimate battleground, your choices. And when guilt creeps in, who am I to put myself first? Remember, the Buddha didn't find enlightenment by following the crowd. He sat alone under the Bodhi tree, facing every shadow until he realized the most radical truth: nirvana isn't some distant heaven, it's the freedom of living from your undivided heart. Your liberation begins the instant you stop asking permission to exist fully. So tonight, as the world sleeps, stand before your mirror, not to fix or judge, but to meet the eyes of someone who's been waiting a lifetime to be chosen. Whisper, "No more abandoning you." Then watch, in days, weeks, months, how the universe conspires to honor that vow. The Tibetan monks say sand mandalas aren't destroyed, their beauty is released back into the world. Likewise, every no to what drains you is a yes to the love that awaits. The choice was never between others and yourself, it was between illusion and the breathtaking truth that you were always worthy of coming home. The moment you begin choosing yourself, you'll feel the world push back, not because you're wrong, but because your light makes others question their own shadows. Do you think this is helping you? Then be sure to like and subscribe. The Buddha called this Mara, the tempter, not some external demon, but the voice inside, and sometimes in others, that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" When you dare to stand in your truth, there will be days you falter, moments you slide back into old people-pleasing habits, like worn-out slippers. This isn't failure, it's the path. In Zen, they say, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Not with shame, but with the gentle persistence of a river carving stone. What you're really learning is the art of matri, loving kindness, directed inward. When you catch yourself reverting to old patterns, don't scourge yourself with guilt, that's just another form of self-abandonment. Instead, pause, breathe, place a hand over your heart, like the monks do during Tonglan meditation, absorbing the discomfort with compassion. The Tibetan teacher, Disagar Kongru, reminds us, every moment of self-awareness is a moment of waking up. That flicker of recognition when you notice you've betrayed yourself, that's not weakness, it's wisdom stirring. The people who drift away were never your keepers. Yes, their absence may ache like a phantom limb, but Buddhism teaches that all attachment leads to suffering. This doesn't mean you stop loving, it means you stop clinging. Watch, without flinching, as relationships rearrange themselves. Some connections will deepen unexpectedly, like roots finding water in drought, others will snap like dead branches, making space for new growth. The Dhammapada says it plainly, you are the only master you need. Those who truly belong won't fear your authenticity, they'll recognize it as permission to embody their own. Here's the secret the Buddha knew, your outer world is a mirror, not a prison. When you stop rejecting parts of yourself, life stops rejecting you. That coworker who suddenly respects your boundaries, the stranger who offers help exactly when needed, this isn't coincidence, it's pratisha samutparda, the interdependent nature of reality, responding to your inner shift. Like a stone cast into a pond, your self-acceptance sends ripples through the fabric of your existence. Even the obstacles change, where once they were brick walls, now they become gates. But stay vigilant, the mind loves its cages. You'll catch yourself yearning for the full safety of smaller living, like a caged bird nostalgic for its bars. In these moments, recall the Buddha's words, what you think, you become. Each time you choose authenticity over approval, you're not just making a decision, you're sculpting your future self. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. The Thai forester Johns teach that enlightenment isn't some distant peak, it's the accumulation of 1,000 daily no's to illusion and yes to truth. So, when doubt comes, and it will touch the earth as the Buddha did when Mara attacked. Feel the solid ground of your own experience, that job you walked away from, the relationship you outgrew, they weren't mistakes, they were the curriculum. Every no you've ever spoken to others was really a yes to yourself in disguise. Now look around. The light falls differently these days, colors seem brighter, conversations carry weight you never noticed. This is what happens when you stop filtering life through others' expectations, the world reveals its hidden music. The Japanese Zen poet, Ryokan, wrote, if you want to find the meaning, stop chasing after so many things. By choosing yourself, you've done just that. And somewhere, under the Bodhi tree of your own heart, a Buddha you didn't know existed begins to unfurl. The path to true transformation, a Buddhist perspective change, doesn't happen in an instant, it grows slowly, like a seed planted in rich soil. In Buddhism, we understand that all things take time, and patience is one of the greatest virtues. The Buddha taught that progress on the spiritual path is not always smooth. Some days you may feel strong and steady, like a mountain, other days, old habits and fears might creep back in, making you feel like you've taken a step backward. But this is not failure, it is part of the journey. Just as a river flows around obstacles, you, too, must learn to move through challenges with awareness and kindness toward yourself. The world often tells us that sacrificing everything for others is the highest good, but the Buddha taught a deeper truth: you cannot truly help others if you are broken inside. Imagine a lamp with no oil. It cannot give light, no matter how much it wants to. In the same way, if you drain yourself completely, what will you have left to give? Have you considered subscribing to the channel Buddhist Doctrine? The Middle Way, one of the Buddha's most important teachings, reminds us that balance is key. Neither selfish indulgence nor complete self-denial leads to freedom. True compassion begins with taking care of your own heart and mind. Some people may not understand when you choose to honor your own needs. They may call you selfish or accuse you of abandoning them. But the Buddha's wisdom teaches us that real love does not come from suffering or depletion. It comes from a heart that is full, calm, and free. When you nourish yourself through meditation, mindfulness, and wise choices, you become like a deep well, able to offer clear water to others without ever running dry. Every small choice matters. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This means that transformation happens not just in big, dramatic moments but in the quiet, everyday decisions. Do you speak with kindness, even when you're tired? Do you pause and breathe before reacting in anger? Do you allow yourself rest when needed? These are the moments where true change takes root. Over time, these small acts of self-honoring build a life of peace, strength, and genuine happiness. But remember, just as a tree cannot grow without sunlight and water, you cannot give what you do not have. The Buddha taught that clinging to the approval of others or neglecting your own well-being only leads to suffering, dukkha. If you constantly sacrifice your joy, your energy, or your peace to please others, what you offer them is not real love, it is exhaustion wrapped in obligation. Sooner or later, the body and mind will speak in fatigue, in resentment, or in a quiet feeling of emptiness. The Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, guides us toward a wiser way. May all loving-kindness meditation begins with offering love to yourself first, because only then can you radiate it outward without limits. The Buddha did not praise martyrdom, he praised wisdom. And wisdom tells us that self-care is not selfish, it is the foundation of a compassionate life. Do you enjoy our content? Consider liking and subscribing. So, walk this path with patience. Some days will be easy, some days will test you. But with each step, you are planting seeds of mindfulness, self-respect, and true generosity. And just as the lotus grows from muddy water, your highest self will rise, not in spite of the struggles, but because of them. Trust the process. The journey itself is the transformation, the mirror of relationships, a Buddhist journey of awareness. Close your eyes and think about the people in your life. Do they fill your heart with joy like sunlight warming the earth, or do they leave you feeling tired like a tree whose roots have been slowly weakened? The Buddha taught that our relationships are like mirrors. They show us not just who others are but who we are. The people we attract, the ones we keep close, even those who hurt us, all of them. Reflect our inner world. If we often feel disrespected, it may be because we haven't yet learned to fully respect ourselves. If we cling to those who bring chaos, it might mean a part of us still confuses love with suffering. In Buddhism, this is the teaching of karma, not as punishment but as the natural echo of our thoughts, actions, and deepest beliefs. The Dhammapada says, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts." So when someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, ask yourself gently, why do I allow this? It's not that they are evil, it's that somewhere inside you haven't yet built the wisdom to say this far and no further. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away, it's about honoring the sacredness of your own spirit. The Buddha himself walked away from those who sought to distract him from his path. He did so not with anger but with the quiet strength of a man who knew his own worth. That heavy feeling you carry after certain conversations, the way your chest tightens or your energy drains, that's not an accident. In the Buddhist tradition we call this Vedana, feeling tone, the subtle signal of whether something harms or heals us. Your body and heart are wiser than you think. They whisper truths your mind might ignore. When you dismiss these whispers, you trade your peace for the illusion of belonging. But the Buddha taught that true belonging begins within. No relationship built on self-betrayal can ever bring lasting happiness. Imagine your heart as a temple. Would you let anyone trample through it with muddy shoes? Of course not. Yet so many of us leave the doors wide open, allowing others to take what they please, our time, our energy, our joy, until nothing sacred remains. This isn't compassion, it's a Vega ignorance, the root of suffering. Real compassion starts with protecting your inner light, just as you'd shield a candle from the wind. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught to love without knowing how to love wounds the person we love. How can you offer kindness to others if your own well has run dry? This doesn't mean cutting people off in anger. Buddhism teaches right speech and right action, to act with clarity, not cruelty. Some relationships may need space, others may simply need new rules, like a river bank that guides the water without stopping its flow. When you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to the parts of you that still dream, still hope, still believe in peace. You're making room for true spiritual community, the kind of connections that help you grow like trees in a forest, each standing tall but nourished by the same earth. Do you think you are getting value from this content and the channel Buddhist doctrine? There's a story about the Buddha and a grieving mother. She begged him to bring her dead child back to life. Instead of scolding her, he asked her to bring him a mustard seed from a home that had never known loss. As she went from house to house, she realized everyone carries sorrow. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. We don't avoid pain by people pleasing, we heal by facing truth with courage. Your boundaries aren't walls, they're the hands that cup your own heart, saying, "You matter too." So walk softly, but walk with awareness. Tend to your relationships like a gardener, watering what blooms, pruning what withers, and knowing that even weeds were once seeds someone allowed to grow. Every time you choose yourself, you aren't being selfish, you're practicing the highest form of metta, loving kindness. And when you love yourself deeply, the whole world benefits, because a healed person heals others not by sacrifice but by radiant example. The whisper of wisdom, rediscovering your inner compass through Buddhist teachings. There comes a moment on the path of self-awareness when you suddenly realize you can trust yourself. That quiet voice inside, the one you use to second-guess or drown out with others' opinions, begins speaking with surprising clarity. In Buddhist tradition we call this prajna, the innate wisdom that exists within all beings, like a golden thread woven through your very being. As you practice choosing yourself day after day, something magical happens. This inner knowing grows stronger, like a flame that burns steadily even in the wind. The Buddha taught that every person possesses this wisdom naturally, just as every acorn contains the potential to become a mighty oak. But why does it often feel so faint? Imagine your mind as a pond. When you're constantly chasing approval, worrying about what others think, or bending yourself to fit expectations, the water becomes murky with ripples. Buddhist meditation teaches us to let the water grow still. In that stillness, what we call samatha, calm, abiding, you begin to see your reflection clearly for the first time. Those gut feelings, those moments when something just feels right, even if you can't explain why. This is your Buddha nature speaking, your truest self, cutting through the noise of the world. In the Pali Canon, the Buddha describes intuition as a faculty far beyond ordinary thinking. It's direct knowing, unfiltered by desire or fear. There's a beautiful story about a monk who kept having dreams telling him to go to a certain village. Though it made no logical sense, he followed this inner prompting and ended up saving a family from bandits. This is what happens when we cultivate sati mindfulness. We become sensitive to life's subtle guidance system. You might notice it as goosebumps when making an important decision, or a sense of expansion in your chest when you're on the right path. These aren't random feelings, they're your deepest wisdom communicating in a language older than words. But here's the challenge society rarely teaches us. Have you subscribed to Buddhist Doctrine channel? Consider doing so and clicking on the notification bell. Real intuition often contradicts conventional wisdom. The Buddha himself faced this when he left his palace. By all worldly standards he had everything interior, yet his heart said otherwise. In the same way, your authentic path might not make sense to others. That career change everyone questions, the relationship you walk away from even though nothing's wrong, the creative dream you can't seem to abandon. These are the moments when choosing yourself becomes spiritual practice. The Tibetan teacher Kurjum Trungpa called this the wisdom of insecurity, learning to trust the groundlessness of following your truth. As you practice this trust, something miraculous begins occurring in your daily life. The Buddhist principle of pratiti mat eta, dependent origination, teaches that everything is interconnected. When you change your inner vibration, your outer world responds. You might meet a stranger who says exactly what you needed to hear, or stumble upon a book that answers your unspoken questions. These aren't coincidences, they're the universe echoing back your commitment to authenticity. The Zen masters call this the 10,000 things coming to your aid. This doesn't mean life becomes effortless. Even the Buddha faced Mara's temptations under the Bodhi tree, but the challenges transform. Where once you faced obstacles with a sinking heart, now you meet them with curiosity. What is this here to teach me? The Tantric traditions speak of alchemy, the ability to turn poison into medicine, that difficult co-worker. becomes a lesson in patience. The failed project reveals hidden strengths. Even heartbreak, when approached with awareness, washes you cleaner, leaving more space for real love to enter. There's a profound teaching in the Lankavara Sutra. The world is perception. When you choose yourself consistently, you literally begin perceiving a different world. Colors seem brighter, synchronicities multiply. You notice the way sunlight slants through trees with heartbreaking beauty. Why? Because you're no longer filtering reality through the fog of self-doubt. The Japanese call this mushin no mind, the state where you act from pure being rather than overthinking. It's how artists lose themselves in flow, how athletes enter the zone, how lovers transcend time. This is intuition in its highest form, not just hearing the inner voice but becoming it. So how do we cultivate this daily? Start small. Tomorrow morning, pause before checking your phone. Place a hand on your heart and ask, what do I truly need today? Maybe it's rest disguised as laziness, maybe it's courage masquerading as risk. The answers won't come in words but as sensations are tightening in your gut when you consider one option, a lightness with another. This is Vipassana, insight arising with practice. You'll begin recognizing these signals everywhere, in dreams and nature's patterns, even in obstacles. The 8th century master Padma Samba taught that all phenomena are messengers that flat tire. Maybe the universe is preventing an accident, that missed opportunity, perhaps clearing space for something better. As you walk this path, remember the Buddha's radical teaching: you are your own refuge. No guru, no partner, no achievement outside yourself can give you what only inner alignment provides. The more you trust yourself, the more life becomes a sacred dance rather than a struggle. Challenges remain, but now you face them with an unshakable knowing, not that everything will be okay in some imagined future, but that you are okay now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are. This is the ultimate fruit of self-trust, the realization that you've been home all along. Synchronicities, do they happen, and are they real, and how do they contribute to Buddhist doctrine? The dance of synchronicity. When the universe sings in harmony with your truth, there comes a moment on the path of authenticity when you start noticing strange and beautiful occurrences. A phone call from someone you were just thinking about, a book that falls open to the exact page answering your unspoken question, a chance meeting that alters your life's direction. In Buddhist wisdom, we understand these aren't mere coincidences but manifestations of tendril, the Tibetan concept meaning interdependent connections, similar to what Jung called synchronicity. When you align with your deepest truth, the universe begins whispering back in a language of meaningful accidents. The Buddha taught that nothing exists in isolation, like a vast net of jewels where each gem reflects all others. Our inner state resonates through the web of existence. This is the profound teaching of Prajapati, dependent origination, that random job post you stumble upon after finally admitting you want a career change, the old friend who reappears just as you're seeking guidance. These are the universe's way of nodding in agreement with your soul's choices. In Zen they say, when the student is ready the teacher appears, but we might add, when the heart is true, miracles become ordinary. Yet this magical alignment isn't about control, it's about surrender. There's a crucial difference between forcing outcomes and allowing flow. The Taoist Buddhist traditions speak of wu-wei, effortless action. Imagine a leaf floating down river. It doesn't struggle against currents, yet arrives exactly where it needs to be. Similarly, when you release the need to manipulate life and instead trust your authentic path, synchronicities blossom like lotuses in your wake. I remember a monk's story about losing his way in the mountains during a storm. Just as despair set in, a stray dog appeared, leading him to a hidden cave that sheltered him through the night. The dog vanished at dawn, a momentary guide sent by what chance, or the invisible hand of a universe that responds to sincere hearts. But here's the paradox the Buddha understood well: the more aligned you become, the fiercer the tests may grow. In the Jataka tales, the Buddha to be faces his greatest trials just before enlightenment. Your old life will tug at your sleeves like hungry ghosts. That critical relative, the friend who mocks your changes, the sudden doubts in the midnight hours, these aren't signs you're wrong but proof you're evolving. The Tibetan tradition calls these dawn obstacles that aren't blockages but strengthening exercises for the spirit. When you commit to self-honoring after years of people-pleasing, it's as if the universe asks, are you serious? Through temporary challenges there's profound teaching in how nature operates. Consider bamboo. After years of underground root growth where nothing seems to happen, it shoots up meters in weeks. Your journey may feel similarly long. Periods where your inner work remains invisible, then sudden bursts of external manifestation, those overnight synchronicities others marvel at were actually years in the making. A Buddhist master once told me, the universe loves courage but tests it first. When you persist in authenticity despite resistance, you're not just changing your life, you're altering your very relationship with reality. The most beautiful transformation occurs in how you perceive obstacles. Where once you saw a closed door as failure, now you sense it as redirection. A cancelled flight becomes divine timing. Avoiding disaster, a betrayal reveals its gift in showing who truly belongs in your life. This is a skillful means in action, the alchemical art of turning all experiences, even painful ones, into wisdom. The Japanese practice of kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold mirrors this perfectly. Your cracks become the very places where light enters brightest. As your trust deepens, you begin sensing guidance everywhere, in bird flights, in overheard conversations, in the